ordnance. About 22% of arable land in our country is contaminated with unexploded ordnance. Between 1975 and 86, I'm sorry, 96, 31 years, we had more than, now let me quote correctly. I need to do it correct. I would not be able to invent it. But between 1975 and 2006, 31 years, unexploded ordnance killed 39,206 people, while injuring 66,380 people. So with an average size of a family in Vietnam of 6 persons, 6 people, then the survivors who need assistance would amount to more than 500,000 people. Another example of the heritage, quote unquote, of the war that we are still have to recover from is Agent Orange, the toxic chemical. I don't know if you have heard about that. Only 5 weeks ago, the US Senate passed a resolution, which is very important. A resolution to designate August as the month of awareness on Agent Orange. I don't know if you have got that information. Certainly, it's about Agent Orange victims here in the States, the Vietnam War veterans. I believe you have tens of thousands of vets here suffering from Agent Orange. Former President Clinton already endorsed the list of 12 diseases related to Agent Orange. In Vietnam, we have between 2.2 and 4.1 million. This is not our figure. The figure produced by American scientists, exposed to Agent Orange. And very interesting, on the 23rd of this month, on the online magazine actually, of Princeton University, I quite coincidentally read an article of a professor after he visited Vietnam. He talked about the Agent Orange impacts on children and on people of Vietnam. So by all this, briefly, I just mean that we still have a long way to go in order to recover from the war.
Yes, but you frighten me, because with these figures that you have mentioned, 3.5 million killed in the war, 4 million injured, 40,000 unexploded bombs damaging people all the time, 4 million suffering from Agent Orange. It is absolutely remarkable that you are in a position to forgive and forget and turn the other cheek, and to become such a highly respected member of the United Nations and a respected friend of the United States. I would think that with that type of a history, you would be bitterly opposed to the United States and totally unwilling to forgive or to forget. But you have succeeded in forgetting and in forgiving. How did that happen?
Well,
there is something super Christian about you.
I do believe now that the warning is very right. Ambassador Kamal always asks very difficult questions. That's true now. Well, I mentioned earlier that we have experienced bitterly so many wars in our history. And remember, all these wars have taken place on the Vietnamese land, not on other nations' land. That means what? We are victimized by wars. And, well, you are talking about our position, our role in the Security Council of the United Nations. Perhaps Vietnam has been and will continue to be beyond or against its wish to be the only country in the world to fight 4 of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. I don't know if you can be proud of that, but it's reality, except for only for the Russians. We fought you. We fought the Chinese. We fought the French. We fought the British, as I said earlier, when the British brought the French back to our country. So 4 of them. In our history, we had 12 times invaded by the Chinese. 12 major wars with Chinese. We were once dominated by the Chinese for 1,000 years without any interruption. If you think of that, if we recall it, then I would say, if after a war with an enemy, we retain hatred, we retain animosity against that enemy, like what is happening now in many parts of the world. I believe you have heard about the Koreans, the Chinese, still feeling very bitter about the Japanese invasion in the mid of the last century. Then who would be our friends? Who would be our partners? Who would be our collaborators today in this globalized world? I don't know, but I believe in the forgiving nature of the Vietnamese. By the way, I don't know if you have heard about the results of a telephone survey conducted by Rasmussen last month about the feelings of the Americans towards the Vietnamese. I got it. I got the report, which says about 21% of Americans say Vietnam now is an ally. Exactly 21, another 21% says that Vietnam is still an enemy. 47% says Vietnam is somewhere between the two. And about 12% says, don't know. That is one set of figures. Let me again go back to the article written by that professor from Princeton University. In that article, let me introduce to you that article so that you can check it. The Vietnamese Miracle by Charlie Metzger, senior columnist, published on the Daily Princetonian, Monday, September the 21st. And he said that Michael, how do you pronounce it? American ambassador to Vietnam, told him, that a survey conducted by the American embassy in Hanoi a year ago reported that 88% of Vietnamese have a positive view of Americans. I believe this is self-evident.